Hello, my friends. We're back again. It's about that game that we all love to play. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you came back. If you are new around here and you enjoy content like this, go hit that like button and subscribe. My goal for FM22 is to get to 10,000 subscribers, which seems unbelievably impossible right now. So you'd help me on my goal along the way and hopefully be entertained as we get there. Huh? All right, so we've already gone through the first 5 things I wish that FM22 would fix from FM21. That video is up in the corner there in case you missed it from yesterday. Today, let's look at the last. I'm going to call it 5.5 because there is a quasi quality of life adjustment that's been announced that I don't have obviously my hands on FM22 to see. So technically I have 6 things, but they may have already fixed one of them, I guess is the point. First up, my friends, you guessed it. It's the ability to skip VAR clips. I'm going to group this together with 2 other things. We're just going to call this highlight clips in general, which again, I think might be a big ask for it. Might be like recoding the highlights clip engine. But I don't think it would be too much to ask to say, let me skip this and let's enjoy that. A whistle was blown for Lirio up in the box there. He got fouled on a set piece. And now, we're jogging. Yeah. And it's like, I understand we're going for suspension of disbelief with SI. That's the modus operandi they've put out there. And fans, we all have to accept whether we're in the stadium or watching, oh, the ref's going to run over. That is a suspension of disbelief I'd love to skip. Right? If I can skip replays of goals, I want to be able to skip that jog when he goes and you're just sitting there going, it's a pen or it's not a pen. I don't really care. I don't think it's a positive. I want to be able to skip that. I don't have another clip for this, but also I would say the same thing. The replays of offside lines is pretty bad. Like I've seen it, I think it should zoom to where the player was offside. Like I've had it where it's not even the correct player. It's like that whole thing needs to be reworked, but at least show me, move the camera angle so I can see the 2 lines and where the player is. Because sometimes you can't. Same thing with the goal line reviews. Now, they may not be able to give us the official like Hawkeye look because that might be, I don't know, copyright infringement or something. I'm not sure. To be able to zoom to see the ball and where the line is. But right now, if you give me the standard director view of a goal and you replay it with no players on the pitch and you go, oh yeah, it wasn't a goal, he kept it out, I can't really tell any difference. Like it looks like you're not giving me the insight that it was that close versus like at least bring it to the side. You don't have to like zoom in like Hawkeye does. You know what I'm talking about, where Hawkeye like goes and like zooms way down in on the goal and shows you like the ball where it was from a graphical standpoint. At least go to the sideline view and show me like, yeah, you can see part of the ball sticking up or something, or just skip it. I think that one is worth an enhancement and not a skip, but man, I'd love to be able to skip this thing right here. This one I'm not going to count as potentially maybe someday being fixed because they have changed the value that appears for you as a player based on how deeply scouted you have that player. So like if I was trying to buy Gaston Gonzalez here, it might say he's worth 500 grand to 5 million. And that would narrow in as I scouted him more. So maybe that plays into it, but I just think there'd be much wider transfer offers. And maybe that's a wrong assumption on my part. Maybe, most players have an agent. Agent like, this is how much money you have to bring. And maybe it changes because they have changed the transfer deadline day stuff like we talked about in one of the earlier videos. But it's just kind of annoying when you get like, if I list Gaston Gonzalez here for sale, or a transfer offering out to clubs, miraculously, they're all going to be within like 100 grand of each other. And it's like, you'd think you'd get a lot more variation where you could say like, no, again, they may have slightly adjusted that. I just think you'd get much wider. And you might have players that would say like, I don't care how much they're offering, I'm not interested, versus I don't care how little they're offering, I want to go there. I just want some more variation where it's not just everybody offers the exact same amount. Same thing when you go to buy a player where it's like, we're all going to offer the exact same thing. And whoever offers, the higher number or the exact same number, but the player wants to go there, is what matters. You know, you'd think a club would say, listen, they've offered 25 million more than the other club. Sorry, like, we're going to have to take that. I don't care if you like it or not. And they're going to pay you more than that other club. You know, you think there'd be some of those conversations being had. And again, maybe players would go like, I don't care. But I think that would be a nice tweak. So they've updated how staff responsibilities show up. I don't really think it's a huge change. Or really a net positive. I mean, I guess it is. Essentially, what I'm sure, this is FM21, obviously, where it's like, my responsibilities are here, and my staff responsibilities are here. So now, you're going to be able to see, like, let's say, this reserves coaching, hiring and firing reserves coaching staff would show up under staff responsibilities, but it would be grayed out versus whited out. I don't know if that's really a positive. It's still a like nightmare of small text to look at. What I would love, and this is my next one, I would love the ability to save this. All my choices. I'll go through it once. I'll set it up at the beginning of FM22. I want to have all of these responsibilities. If we have the staff for it, I want my staff to handle these responsibilities everywhere I go. That would make setting up new saves go faster. And I also think it goes with that suspension of disbelief that if I were a manager, I'd say, this is how I like things. And like, here's how I like it. Set it up if you're going to hire me. It's such a small thing. Like, you might go like, man, it's at the beginning with a new club. But like, again, if you're on a journeyman save or something and you're at 7 new clubs, like every time having to make some adjustments to this, I just think this screen is awful. Like, I don't know how to fix this. Maybe make it all separate screens. I don't know. But it's like, this is just too much. I think about new players when they get here. They're like, I don't even understand what half of this means. So how can we enable this to be easier? Thoughts? Next up on our list, and this is probably a minor one. It's probably a minor one. I think, do you see this green bubble next to my head? Right there? With the white text on it in font that's this big? That's not useful. That's not at all useful. It's the wrong color. You either need to darken the green so that the white stands out and is easier to read, or you need to make the text black. Or even better, do more than that. Make these bigger, right? Like, there's a lot of, all of this screen real estate behind me is blank. You could have a giant set of circles with one drawn, lost. You can make this bigger. Now I know they're factoring in different sizes of people's monitors when they're setting this up, but this is useless. Many people may not look at this, but I like to see how I'm doing compared to the previous manager. Or if I go to take over a club, like what happened? What happened with that manager? I like to see that. And like, I shouldn't have to go and get real close to my screen and squint to see that says 63 games won. That's a poor user interface choice. Change the color, make it bigger. Before we wrap up the video, just a quick little interruption here. One way, if you're looking to support the channel that you can, is to actually purchase Football Manager 22 through my affiliate link. The link is in the description below. Here's how this works. Every year, before the game is released on this year, November 9th, you can get 10% off at any retailer. So like, even if you just go to Steam and use Steam, you can get 10% off of the game before it's released. But if you want to get an additional discount, you can go to 2Game. Again, the link is in the description, and use, as you can see up there in step 2, code all caps with an A, gray hair, and you'll get 10% off an additional 10%. Does that make sense? So like, you get the normal 10% price, that's that $49.49 that's up there, but you can also see the next line says discount gray hair, additional $4.95 off, so it's an additional 10% off. I do get a small cut. It is a way of supporting the channel. You can also go to patreon.com/grayhairgaming. The link to that is in the description, or become a YouTube member. That's a way of throwing $1 or $5 or $10 my way every month as a way of saying thanks. I appreciate your content. Thanks for watching. Now let's wrap up this video. All right, we got 2 more to go. This one, I'm really curious if I'm alone on this, but I think it would be a nice little addition. And it doesn't, it's just changing like some math. and how the math is displayed. So I'm not asking for match engine changes or anything like that. So this player, he's on $6,500 a week, and he's been loaned out to another team for $3,900 a week, plus a playing monthly fee of 1.8 grand, which doesn't cover his full wages, obviously. Okay? And that's because I'm just trying to negotiate to get this player off my books. We'll get something for him. That'll be great. But when you go to look at his history, loan, oh yeah, you got a 5.25 grand in loan fee. That doesn't really tell the whole story, because like I could have him at 0% wages, but a loan fee, and it makes it look like, oh, you got paid for that loan. Well, not really. Like you still ended up paying the wages. Like you're coming out behind. What if on the loans, instead of giving you the loan fee amount, it was like the percentage of their wages that are covered? So either you could do it a couple different ways. You could say like loan in parentheses, 50% wages, and then in parentheses, and then a dash, and then 5.25 grand loan fee. That still doesn't tell the whole picture, because you're like, well, how much was the wages and whatever. What if the whole thing was just like 78% of wages? Combining the money, to me, ends up in the same bucket. Like you're getting a loan fee or they're paying their wages. It ends up in the same bucket. Now, how that works between clubs financially and bank accounts, maybe this is why this is this way. I just don't think it's very clear as to how much you actually got for the loan fee. Obviously, we're talking about very small amounts here, but like with bigger clubs and much higher wages, it becomes materially important to know, hey, that player that you're paying 80 grand a week, they only paid 40 grand of that from on the loan for wages, but they also gave you 10 grand a month. So what is that? 2,500 a week? So essentially 42,500 of that 80,000 was covered. It paints a clearer picture of the actual cost. I just think that would be a nice addition, because this doesn't tell me anything. It's like, I guess we'll just assume that the wages are paid, or maybe we don't care that the wages were paid. We just care if we got paid a loan fee. But that, like, financially doesn't make sense. It's the same bucket of money. You can move from the transfer budget to the wage budget. Why not give me the percentage? I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I've said that a lot in this episode of the previous one. Like, maybe it's just me. It's just stuff that irks me that I think would be simple to change. Just have it do the math and show that. All right, my last one for today, my friends, has to do with the reports that you get from whoever, your assistant or whoever, in anticipation of a game. And it gives you strengths and weaknesses. It gives you, like, if you come back to this screen, attacking efficiency, and maybe this is part of the data hub. I've had it before. I'm just trying to see here. The goalkeepers on the team generally command their area well. Let's just check. 14. Okay. But I don't care about the group of goalkeepers, right? Like, I care about the players you think are going to play. Like, I've had it before where, like, it'll say something positive or negative, right? Goaltenders tend to lack ideal reflexes for the position. Okay. Reflexes. 13. That seems pretty... I mean, if command of area is good, 14, then 13's not that bad, right? Now, is it going, oh, well, the backup goalkeeper here, Felipe, that's not what I want. His reflexes are 11, 15. So, like, I want an analyst report of the team they think I'm going to play, and maybe, like, the 8, the 7 subs, the 5 subs, the 2 most likely to sub players, like, something to help me actually attack that team tactically. It doesn't do me any good to say, oh, all the goalkeepers are bad, because what are the odds that you're going to face 2 goalkeepers at a game, right? Essentially 0, right? Shout out to Loki Doki, because, like, he never carries a second goalkeeper on his bench, right? So, again, it makes me wonder, hey, there are quite a few good dribblers. Well, call that out. Like, in the anticipated starting 11 or the anticipated 18, what are the strengths and weaknesses? Not the entire squad. And especially, don't give me multiple stats about the goalkeeping group. Give me the one that's going to play. Again, simple thing, but that adjusts how you attack this team tactically. Hey, he doesn't have good reflexes. Shoot on sight. Well, then you look, he's got 13 reflexes, and you're like, that's not that bad, is it? Right? I also think if it would say, like, compared to the average in our league, right? So, like, let's say the average is 15 for reflexes. Well, then you can say has below average in the league reflexes. That, you know, now you're telling me a story that I can act upon versus all the goalkeepers in general don't rush out. And it's like, well, you have to find the one that doesn't. And which one am I going to play against? That doesn't do me any good. All right, my friends, we are this close to the FM22 beta being launched. I'm anticipating it's going to be this weekend or at the latest this coming Tuesday, because it's usually about 2 weeks in advance of the release of the game, which is on November 9th. As you saw in the video I inserted, you can help support the channel by buying the game with my link, which is in the description below. Or if you're like, I've already bought the game, but I love your content and I want to see you succeed, and I'll support you, I'll throw $1 or a pound or €1 or something in your direction. A couple different ways you could do that. All those are in the description. Patreon, YouTube membership. Thanks for your support. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. We're on the road to 10K. That sounds ambitious, but we're gonna do our best. We'll see you then. Bye-bye!